What's up, my people?
What's up with it?
Another
We
week
in there.
session, the 5 Session Podcast. We
Yes,
back,
sir.
episode 18. Y'all already know how we do it. We got another dope guest coming to you today. But
Yeah.
get into that. Benji Banks, the man, the brand. How you doing, my brother?
Man, I'm good. But I'm a little bit stressed. You know what I'm saying? My team, my Celtics running things in the playoffs. So, but now all of a sudden, Al Horford and Smart Al. I mean, I'm just, I don't know what to think tonight. But you know what I'm saying? I'm holding it together, my man. I'm holding it together.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA playoffs is the highlight for what's going on right now. But we all know that with modern medicine and things like that, with these guys being out with injuries, they come back like that. So hopefully with the guys that Boston is missing in any of these teams, that they can go full force, so we don't have to see or hear excuses like the Suns were making for the beatdown they received the other night.
I mean, they got smacked up. You know what I'm saying? They got obliterated, and this is I picked them on Sunday, but I'm glad I did because I won my money. I didn't think they was gonna win the series in the beginning, but they did. So I'm glad I picked them for Game 7.
DeKelvin Conway says Celtics in 6.
See, I like you, DeKelvin Conway. See, I like you. Celtics in 6.
I
like you.
I don't know, but all I can tell you is when it comes to the NBA playoffs, I want to see good series, whether it involves my hometown, you know what I'm saying, Dallas, Texas, the Dallas Mavericks, or any team. I want to see some good series. I want to see some good basketball. So, get the people what they paid for. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's what we're about, trying to entertain the masses and give them, what they paid for.
Yes,
so,
sir.
Speaking of that, we got a dope interview coming for you all today.
Yeah.
This young lady was introduced to me by Benji. He told me about her. He told me about her multiple times. And he said, I know this lady. We talking about guests. We got to have her on the show. She's dope. She's, she's very articulate. She knows how to use her words. She knows how to say things, and she's a life strategist. I said, wait.
Right.
What?
Life coach. We got a female life strategist.
What is a life strategist? You hear life coach, you hear life strategist, you hear a bunch of different titles for things nowadays. That some of the stuff we don't even know it existed, right?
Right.
But these people, they hold an important part in society because they help people navigate.
Right.
They help people get their things together, right? Because too long we've gone through life thinking we can get our stuff together on our own. We don't need no help because we grown and we can take care of things. But listen, I told my son the other day, I said, hey, get this visual picture of you having a backpack. When you're trying to unload that backpack, which we carry around in life, and you try to reach into yourself, it's hard to get anything out of that backpack right unless you take it off. But if you have somebody that's behind you, they can pull things out of that backpack and help you. And that's where people like Miss Tamika Thomas come into play. She helps you navigate things, and she helps you pull things out, according to your life that you might not even know was in that bag, or you forgot was in that bag because it's been in there so long. It's at the bottom of the bag.
Yeah, it's at the bottom of the bag. And the dope part about who we having on today is we're not talking about somebody that just went to school and got it. We're talking somebody that been through it, prevailed, came out of it on top, and is successful today. So that's who we're bringing before you today. And so that's going to be the dope part about all of this. You know what I mean? Like, we got somebody that can walk you through the corporate world, but we can also, you know what I'm saying? She might need to do a little sea walk on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's well-rounded, and that's what I find that's the dopest part about her. So.
Okay, yep. So let's waste no more time. Let's bring forward Miss Tamika Thomas, our guest for today.
Let's do it.
Welcome to
What's going on?
Hey, listen, you almost had me. Wait, hold up. Hey, don't
They be thinking we saw, huh?
This is Pomona, California all day. You feel me?
Right, exactly. Okay, so I'm going to start this real quick by saying this. those of you who know me, who have known me for quite some time, know I used to be a preacher. Like I was in it heavy from 19 to I was about 30 something years old. Okay. And me and Tamika were on the same card one day. We were preaching at a church. And that very day when I saw her, that day, I was like, she's going to go far. And, as preachers and pulpiteers and all of that, you're always looking for people around you that you believe who are going to, what we used to call, take up the mantle, keep going, whether it be for men or for women. And I remember Kamo was at that, John Thomas, we were at his thing. And I said, and that moment, you left an impression on me that day that I was like, she's going to be dope. She ain't where she wants to be right now, but she's going to be dope. So I wanted to say that because that's been stuck in my mind for the longest, that she just was a dope person. She was real when she delivered. She was authentic when she delivered her message. And that to me was like I can cuss on the show. That was the shit. Okay. Let me just put it like So I appreciate you for that. And you left a lasting memory just from that. And I think that was what, maybe 5 years ago?
Yeah, I believe it was in 2015, possibly.
Yes.
And, in the spirit of your past life pastoring, I want to give honor to where honor is due. Okay.
Right.
I want to thank you and Big Ken for just having me on the show and allowing me to grace your podcast. I really do count it an honor and a privilege whenever I'm allowed to just share for the people and give some hope and inspiration. You said something that is truly how I live my life, and it's through honesty, transparency, and authenticity. I feel like, we have enough fakes out here. It's really time for the real ones to stand up,
Right.
So I appreciate you guys having me.
We're definitely glad to have you on for sure. I was looking forward to this. I was like, we got to put Tamika in this in the roundup. We got to put this in there.
Yeah, he was
and reason being, go ahead, Ken. Go ahead.
He was adamant about that. He was like, we gotta fit her in the schedule somewhere. We got to get her on. So here we are today.
And the reason I premise that point is because generally with podcasts, with information that's distributed out there, generally what we always tend to do is take the negative points of relationships, marriages, dating, all of those things, and those become the platform. And I thought in my mind, how in the world can we somewhat change the narrative? Because again, we're going to use those topics, but we want to be well-rounded on this. So we want to bring people on that can actually give people actual tips. Women, from a woman's perspective, of course, on this whole thing. And we know that it comes with multiple avenues of trying to figure things out. So I thought, you know what, who else better to bring on and have this conversation with? Because I've seen you walk it out. I've seen you live it. I've seen you put it out there. I know successful marriages when I see them. I know ones that aren't, you've been around it. So I thought, who better can we have on that I know among others than Tamika? So I was like, let's do it, man. We got to have her on. So that's what we're going to drive home today. Some of the great successful points.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. Go ahead, Big Ken. I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I feel, as we know, like those people that are in professional development or anything of that sort, we know that what you focus on grows. And I feel like in our society, we focus so heavy on, and I'm going to speak from a woman's perspective.
Right.
We focus on these men as dogs, there are no good men out here. And in 2000, I want to say 16, 17, I just changed my paradigm. And I'm like, no, there are tons of good men out here and they're waiting for me. Right. So I started really speaking life into my situation, and I started changing the way I thought and I spoke about men. And listen, my dating life, I love my husband. Like, I absolutely adore him.
Right.
And I think that that is shown in my post and, as I, on social media. But my dating life was lit. Look, it was fire, right? Because
Right.
I started
Most people would say, yeah, that dating was dope. So
it
I'd
was
agree.
dope because I started attracting really high quality men, but it did not happen until I became the person that I was looking for.
Right. And you know what? That to me is important in anything that we decide to do, any journey that we take. I kind of liken it to when you're in survival mode all the time, you're always thinking reactionary, you're in survival mode. Well, survival mode is I got to eat noodles and beans. You get what I'm saying? Well, what happens when I start to get 100K, 200K, 500K, whether it be a month or 2 months or whatever? The narrative has to change for you. And if you're not careful, you'll still find yourself eating noodles and beans, trying to stay in survival mode when in actuality, you've gotten out of survival mode to a degree. So you need to learn some new concepts. I think that should happen before we get to those moments. You should prepare yourself. Would you agree that that was kind of what you were stating earlier?
Absolutely. So I recently learned this concept, and it was something that I was already living, but it was amazing to have like words put to really what you're saying. And I believe that in order for us to do, be, and have everything we want, we have to become it, right? So in
Right,
order for me to become a wife, become, a life strategist, become a 6-time author, to become, able to speak on stages across the country, all these things, there was something that I had to do in order
right,
to be who I wanted to be, in order to have what I wanted to have. And a lot of people, they don't want to change that cycle, right? They don't want to change the places that they're going, the people that they're being around, even their mindset, like how
right,
they think, so there's actually work that you have to do. A person that eats beans and weenies all the time or noodles all the time, they have a low vibration and a low mindset. Like they feel like that's their value. So what I started doing is I started taking myself on expensive dates and
right,
saying like, I deserve this. In order for me to have a man look at me and say, man, she's a woman of quality. She deserves to be taken out to, yacht trips and all this good stuff. I had to first give it to myself. So I had to stop going to go eat at McDonald's, just settling for Applebee's. Although there ain't nothing wrong with that, with the kids and stuff. But listen, I'm like, I won't,
I want to eat
date
good.
over the ocean. I believe I deserve that. And so I had to really change it starts in your mindset. I believe a lot of people, even if you're making that 100K or that 200K, they mind is still on Section 8. That's a bar. Somebody take that.
Mm.
Their mind is still on Section A. Now, from that perspective and from that point, do you believe that everything is centered around you changing your mind, or what else avenues would you leave open to this development of change? Is it just a mindset thing? Is it lifestyle? What is it? What more would you say has to be done?
So it starts with your mind, right? Your mind is the soil by which everything grows. Like, so it starts there. So you have to tend the garden of your mind. So
Right,
this means, like doing that radical work. Once you start like pulling out those weeds, I call myself like an urban gardener because I
right,
have the ability, and I do believe that it's God has graced me with this ability to notice stuff and get to the root of things and start pulling those things out. So once we get to the root of things and we start really tending our garden, then you have the next step is to take action. But you
right,
have to start looking at your tribe. Who are you hanging out with? You are the sum total of the 5 people. We know this stuff, right?
right, right,
But we tend to think that you could just stay in a certain place. Excuse me. And you can't. You have to be able to look at your tribe and then you got to take radical action.
right. I totally believe that. I honestly believe that.
Okay. So before we get too deep in the water on the conversation, let's get to know who Tamika Thomas is, so we
Yes.
can get some background on her. So, Miss Thomas, tell us where you're from, like your
Well,
background.
Central Climate.
what set you claim, your educational background, so people can get an idea of who you are and where you come from.
Yeah, I'm already on here spitting bars and coaching. Listen, so I am a I
That's
am
why we
a
got a host. He always brings us back in. So that's why I love him.
yes, I am a life strategist, which basically means I help people move forward. There are so many people stuck in their current situation. And a strategist is a person that can strategically help you plan, right? They can help you plan and develop the life that you want to be. I really help high achieving women do, be, and have everything that they desire. So, but the backstory, I love that. Those are the things that get me booked. Those are the things that get me paid. But the backstory is I'm a girl from Pomona, California, Centown to be exact. Trey 57, if you want to, if you really bout it, right? My parents were
Yes, sir. Pomona. P-Town. Come on now.
yes. My parents were 15 and 16 years old when they had me. I am the oldest of 10. I have or 11. I have 10 younger brothers and sisters. And so those are the things that I believe that truly qualify me. My mother was and currently is addicted to drugs and alcohol. So from a very young age, I was a life coach. I was doing these things. I just wasn't getting paid to do it. I took every single trial that I've been through, the divorce that people don't talk about, the molestation, all the things that people don't like to put on their resume. I took those things and I turned my trials into treasures. And I stopped using them as crutches to keep me crippled. And I started to use them as stairs to help me get to the next level.
Now
Mm.
that's what I remember when we first had our first encounter, when we talked, rather when we met, is the history. And usually in these, in church settings and things of that nature, you always look for someone that's relatable. Of course, I come from the craziest of backgrounds. And so when you see certain things, certain characteristics, and you see overcoming within them, because some people are blessed. Some people have gifts, some people have talents, but they do nothing with it. When you came along, hearing your story, I was like, she's going to take this and make something out of this. And that's what was like, yo, this is dope. And I admired that because I come from the same place. Different, different states, different areas, whatever, but it's all relatable. So that's where that to me was like, you know what, she's going to make something of this. And of course, coming from where you come from, you have thus far.
Yeah, I had this like resonating thought that even when I was in the lowest of low and I lived off the what I call the swipe and pray, right? So as a mother of 3 kids, I would like swipe the debit card and pray that those funds went through, right?
Right.
So even when I was living like that, I had this thought like, this can't be for nothing. Like, this cannot be for nothing.
Right.
The stroke, I had a major stroke, you guys, at 32 years old. The burying my child. I have so many stories. Lifetime better come on and pick me up before, Oprah do. Because listen, all the things
Right.
that I've been through, I kept thinking, this can't be for nothing. Like
Right.
this has to be something. And what I did, which a lot of people are not willing to do, is I started to use everything. I use my story. I tell my story to anybody that will listen, and I'm not ashamed of it because it's what makes me.
Right.
It's really easy for me to talk about the degrees. I worked in the school district for many years and I have my mental health background and, degree. All that's easy to talk about. But
Right.
what gets people is when they realize, man, she's been
Yeah.
through all of that. If she could do it, I could do it.
Right.
So I truly live a life to inspire and not impress. And I feel like so many people, especially with the social media age, they just out here trying to flex. And instead of like really inspiring people.
Awesome.
Wow, so that's a lot of bars right there.
Yeah.
I mean, but I want to key in on those things that you said are easy to talk about, which is your education, just to kind of give people a taste of for what you do. Like, what kind of educational background do you have? What schools? What degrees do you have, so they could get an idea what people need in order to do the job that you do.
Yeah. So, I started, I want to say 2012. is when I really dove. Well, no, I take that back. I had my first child at 18 years old. So I was what's considered a teen mom. And I went to a JCO, right? So I went to Riverside Community College. And my first initial thing is I thought I wanted to be a teacher. I knew I always wanted to help people. So I went and I got a certificate to be a teacher, like in the preschool. So I did that. And although I love kids and I love helping, there was no money attached to that. And I needed my monies. Okay.
Right.
So then I went on to become a drug and alcohol counselor. And this is what a lot of people do when they have stories like mine. They want to be of service and they want to help, right? But then I realized that there's a term in counseling that's called transference and countertransference. So every single client that I was helping, I saw my mom. So I wasn't able to be productive. However, that so these are the stones, right? These are the stones that built on me really trying to build the path. So then I went on to become I have my degree in human service. I have my master's degree in human services. And that's when things really started to pick off. However, working the corporate 9 to 5 cannot get you where you want to be. So I took a radical leap of faith and I spent my rent money. I don't tell anybody to do this, but I knew that I had to get somewhere. I was laying in the bed, living off of that swipe and pray, unable to feed my kids. I used to tell my kids certain things like, oh, I'm on a diet, because I only had enough food to feed them. There wasn't enough for me to eat. So I'd be like, oh no, I'm on a diet. And I kept thinking like, this is not sustainable. I cannot live my life like this. Like God, again, I didn't go through all this stuff for nothing. Like if I truly believe, the scriptures and what the word of God say, like if I believe this stuff, why am I living like this? I took a radical leap of faith. I took my rent money and I did a weekend course in life coaching and I became a certified life coach. There's tons and tons of life coaches out there, but I've always operated as a woman of integrity. So I wanted to be in integrity. So I took my rent money and then I told my landlord, look, I'm going to get it to you. I don't know when, but I'm going to get it to you. Right. And so I took that leap of faith and I went ham. I started giving free sessions. I started, just telling people, whoever would listen to me. I was speaking on stages, and I used the church initially as kind of like the platform because truth be told, that's where all the broken folks is at. That's where all the folks that need healing is at. So I'll use that.
And a lot of people miss that in the engaging, that when they go to a service, they literally forget that there's tons of, as a matter of fact, everybody in here is broken to a degree. So some people miss that in their journey. So
absolutely. And then after I started kind of getting some notoriety, my clients were posting like, man, my coach really has helped me change my mindset or help me do this, or, they were getting degrees and writing books and doing all this amazing stuff. So then I went on to write my first book. Now, a book is really like a fancy business card. Once you have a book, people start to see you as legit, like especially in the life coaching arena. So I was still working my 9 to 5. I mean, grinding was like literally my middle name. So my kids, football, doing all the things, being a great mother, because I believe that if I take care of home, everything else is going to take care of itself.
Right.
So I was being a good mother out here single in these dating streets. No, I ain't gonna hold you. For a while, it was raggedy. It was raggedy out here.
I think we can all testify to that for a little bit,
right? And I had to, make some changes because it was raggedy. And then I began to coach and speak and do all these amazing things. And then little by little, the ideas started coming together. I tell people I invested my way out of poverty. So many people want a handout, but I constantly was taking courses, constantly doing webinars, paying like high ticket. If I tell people some of the amounts of money that I've invested in me, right? We invest on the outside. I was so broken on the inside. I had to invest in the internal Tamika, who I was on the inside, because the nursery rhyme that I was playing in my head that was really like a part of my DNA. I had to do some work to reprogram that. So I invested tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars. If my husband is listening, listen, I'm still out here investing, but I'm trying to be somebody, right? I'm really out here trying to be somebody. So
Right.
that's really, the trajectory that I'm on. And I do believe, soon and very soon, I will be on someone's TV show. I will, be known as I've been speaking it for so many years. I'm just waiting for the harvest, but I will be a celebrity life coach. I will be someone that, people, because listen, these celebrities, they need it. They need
Right.
somebody that can help them strategize their life.
I would agree. Now you said you invested in yourself. Talk to us a little bit about a couple of the investments, not on the exterior but the interior. Talk to us a little bit about what that entailed and how that took place.
I would pay. So I really believe on eating my own cooking. That's a term that I've coined and I believe in. So I would never promote a coaching program, promote a digital product, anything unless I've already invested that amount. So I've invested literally $20,000 on coaches, right? For them to help me build my systems, to build my programs. I've invested in dating coaches, right? When I was looking to be married and trying to figure out all these things, I invested in books. I have a whole library full of books. Some of my mentors were not tangible mentors, so I wasn't able to like get to the Les Browns or get to the Lisa Nichols or these, but I
Right.
went to events and I would, invest my time. That's the biggest thing where a lot of people don't want to do. They spend a lot of time on TV and watching these reality TV shows and watching, things that are not getting them anywhere. I took the TVs out of my house and I was just, studying and on YouTube and learning and really soaking in good information so I could be the woman that I wanted to be today.
So you would agree that this isn't easy. This not going to just fall in your lap. It's going to take some work. You're going to have to invest in yourself, whether it be your eating habits, whether it be what you invest in your mental. I like what you said earlier because I was told early on by one of my mentors that you are the sum total of who you give your ears to. Whoever you are listening to, whoever you are talking to, you are the sum total of that, because whatever they process into you, that's what's going to grow out of you. So
Yeah.
investing and going, seeing people who invest, I wouldn't say necessarily off positive. I'm sure there was some constructive criticism that you gravitated to that helped you to be better. But I totally believe that aspect. We are the sum total of who we give our ears to.
Absolutely. And I believe some of the best self work that I did, you talked about that constructive criticism piece,
Right.
is I remember one day I looked at my five, right? So we all have a fab five. And if you think of like any marketing schemes or anything, I wouldn't call them a schemes, but any like promotion, they always tell you like, who are your five people in your contacts, right? T-Mobile used to have like the Fab Five, right? So all these people would have these things. And we know the people that are in your five, like your top five, those are your people, right? Those are your intimate relationships that you tell. I call them your 4 a.m. friends. These are the people you could pick up the phone at 4 a.m. and be like, whether you drunk at the club, girl, come get me, right? Or whether
Right, right.
having just this breakdown and you need somebody to talk to. That's who those five people usually are. So I remember texting those five people and saying, yo, like, give it to me real. What do you guys see? Because we all have blind spots. In mental health, there's this concept called Johari's window. And a part of Johari's window is there's things that we show people, things that we don't show people, things that are our blind spot, and things that people or ourselves have not yet figured out. So that blind spot is what I was after. So I'm like, okay, they see me, and although they love me and they're my support and they're my cheerleaders, I knew that they would also tell me the real.
Right.
So I was like, y'all, what's good? Like, tell me, why am I missing this? Because I kept attracting the same type of guy. I kept running into money issues. Like, all this stuff was happening. So I'm like, okay, there's something in my blind spot. Man, when I tell you, they was like, girl, you act like you're bipolar. Like, they told me some
Okay.
they told me some stuff. Now, I am a firm believer. If one person say it, it's probably not the truth. If two people say it, you might need to look at it. If three or more say it, it's the truth. And so you
Right,
had so
right.
three or more people kept saying the same thing, that I was operating in arrogance. That because I used to think, like, and a lot of women say this, oh, men are just intimidated by me because I'm a strong woman. No, I was a B word. Let's keep it all the way, right? I
I
was
mean, that's I mean, this is refreshing to hear, because a lot of women, you can't tell that they're acting that without them getting offended. So the fact that you are on this and saying, look, I actually acted like a bee sometimes, and my homegirls called me out on it, is legit. Ken, we getting revelations on the show. I'm just saying.
It's a lift your hand moment.
Yes, sir.
Listen, I needed some deliverance. And a lot of women need deliverance because we are taught, boundaries and don't let them. But a lot of women, they built the boundary wall instead of the boundary line, right? And so
Right.
men are like trying to bust through it and bust through it and bust through it. Nobody wants to do all that work. Like, you, I love and I hate this new movement of the soft life, right? Because
Right.
I do believe you can be soft, but you can also be strong. Like, I'm tired of
Agreed.
people telling me I got to choose one or the other. How about I'm about to be both, right? I'm about to
Right.
be
Right.
soft. Because listen, when my husband comes home at night, he wants something soft. He don't want me out here, being
Thug life,
hard and
y'all
being.
know the rules. Crip walking, gotta do what you gotta do to stay true.
That's not attractive. That is not attractive. So I had to literally look inward. So I feel like with all the coaching, all that stuff, the best thing that I did is I took inventory of me. I looked in the mirror. I stopped looking at everybody else and pointing fingers. I said, nah, what's going on with Tamika? How does Tamika get it together? Because I knew that I was a wife. I knew that I was, I'm on the track to be a multimillionaire. I know it, right? But what habits do I need to change? Who do I
Right.
need to become? Who do I need to get around to have
Right.
the things that I desire?
Now you said that your husband wants something soft, right? So talk to us just really, really, really quick about the fact that you do have to be strong, but your husband requires this. Talk to us a little bit about that aspect, because we're sure that that takes a little bit of change. Or when you've been, cultivating yourself to be this, you're prepared for this.
Oh, you said the key word. It's in preparation.
Right.
You have to prepare to be the wife, the mother, the whatever that you want to be. So before my husband came along, I started quote unquote acting like a wife, right? So then I knew that when this time come and when I manifested him, because I completely believe that I manifested the man that I'm with today.
Right.
um I can be a boss. Like, I could be a boss chick out in the world, but when I hit that front door, when I hit my address, I take all that off. I take
Right.
all that armor off and I become babe. I become honey. I become boo. Like, that's who I am, but it took preparation of
Right.
me doing. Oh, this is so good. Ladies, if you taking notes, write this down. Listen. I started doing things like men would, see me in a grocery store and they would be like, oh, can I take your bags to the, I used to be like, no, no, I started saying, of course. I was
Right.
preparing for my
Right.
husband to carry my bags. Men would, that don't mean I got to give them nothing. I have to do anything. I just really set myself up. I became open to receive. The
Right.
soft life is about being open to receive. Men are givers.
Right.
Women are created to receive. So many of us can't receive because we trying to be the giver. We trying to
Right.
be the one giving, giving, giving. I became open to receive. So anytime that came along, the right man, right, that was like, Tamika, I want to take you on a date.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I would wait by the door. Now, this is old school. Some people may not subscribe to this, but I believe that's what I wanted. So that's what I expected. So I would be like standing by the door. No, I'm waiting for you, honey, to open up the door. Right? And I got all of that back in return. And it wasn't no, nigga, why you did it? Like, I didn't have to do any of that.
Right.
I was so like, but anybody that I dated, and even my husband, knows that I'll turn up. If I got to, I'll turn up. Right?
I saw you crib walking on the video. You know what I'm saying? I mean, listen, I think most of us, if we're real with ourselves, we come from so many different backgrounds. We have to be versatile. We can't be one-dimensional and get what we want to get out here. We have to be versatile in a lot of ways. So I totally agree with that.
Got one comment from Gabriel Leal. What's up, Gabriel? If you want to find a king, you have to prepare yourself to be a queen and everything that encompasses. And that's exactly what she's saying. And I was going to add too earlier that a lot of the things that you're saying involve work before you get those rewards. And that's what a lot of people aren't willing to do, that work, because like you said, people were looking at, Housewives of Atlanta, and people see these celebrities and things like that. And that's what they want to be. But they spend too much time looking at those people instead of putting in the work to get to where those people are. So that's part of their issue as well. So
absolutely, I agree. And we have to remember that is reality TV. 90% of that, I'm going to tell y'all a little secret that I ain't never told nobody before. I had the opportunity to be on a reality TV show. 90% of what we see is scripted. It is scripted. Right. It's not real. So there's people that are feeding their mind these lies, right? And I used to be one of them. I can only speak about what I've come from, right? I don't speak about nothing I don't know. And so I remember dating a guy, and I was sitting up watching Basketball Wives, and we were, cool. It was a cool little relationship, and he proposed to me, but he came to me with what looked like a Cracker Jack ring, and I was like, no, sir. No, sir. And
no Cracker Jack ring, huh?
Oh, ain't it the thought? Ain't it the thought behind it, though?
It's the thought. Now, listen, that was the unhealed version of me, because I was sitting up feeding myself lies and feeding myself all this stuff. My current husband, now I want to throw a question back to you guys, because I believe that men test women, right? So my current husband, my king, my Lord, listen, my baby, all of that good
Thomas.
stuff.
Dope brother.
Yes, he is amazing. So when he proposed to me, he came with a Cracker Jack ring. And I was like, I know that it's greater than that. Listen, people was talking about it. People were like, I can't. And I was posting that thing like it was this big old rock on my finger now, right? I was like, oh, I was so excited because I was different. And I wasn't looking for the stuff. Like, I didn't need, oh, this is so good. Listen, if y'all taking notes, write this down. I stopped looking for validation from people that are not even valid. So many people.
Oh, now that's a lift your hands moment for sure right there. Stop looking for validation from people who aren't valid.
Facts.
So many people want the big ring, want the big house, want the relationship, because they're looking for validation from strangers, people off the internet, people that don't even know them, right? I knew that we had something. It was something special. It was something like that once in a lifetime love, that grandma and grandpa type of love, that real love, right? And so I wasn't concerned about how he came, because I knew it was going to get better. I just knew it, like, internally. And so I posted that ring, and people were like, nobody said it to my face, but but people had feelings about it. I didn't have any feelings about it and then on the wedding day, because, and I want to ask you guys this, I believe my husband was testing me. He gave me the 7 reasons why men don't commit to women. And one of them is because they don't trust them. What do you guys think about that?
Before I answer, I'm going to let Ken answer, because Ken has been married for 20 plus years now, my man.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to let Ken answer that one. Then I'm going to bring in the single guy's perspective after that. Okay, go ahead. Shoot, Ken.
22 years in November. So
congratulations.
Solid.
So yeah, I mean, trust is a big thing, because when you people don't understand when you get married, that's as I like to always say, that's kind of like a business partnership. Like you putting your well-being in that person's hands. So you have to have that blind faith of, I know when I'm not here, she's gonna take care of what she needs to take care of. And if I say, hey, you know what, I'm not here right now, or I'm not able to do that right now, so go ahead and do what you think is best. You know what I'm saying? And I trust you. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times it's not easy putting, especially when you're young. When we got married, when we got married, I was 20, she was 18. So it was hard putting my full trust in saying, you know what, you're gonna be okay. Here's what I need you to do. I'm just gonna go this way and then trust that you're gonna get this done. There was a little, point in there where I was kind of like micromanaging things a little bit. But as time went on, years went by, it's like, man, you good with that. I say, I trust you. Go ahead, knock that out. But you gotta have that, because when you don't trust somebody, that's gonna create tension, because there's going to be little things that happen in between that person is going to be able to tell that you don't trust them. And then they're going to return the same energy. And then it starts getting ugly. It starts being a back and forward thing. And, trust is huge. And once your trust is betrayed, it's very, 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 very difficult to recover from that in most instances. And a lot of people don't recover. So yeah, trust is huge in relationships, especially, what I'm saying, in the beginning stages, because it's hard to open up and let people have that.
Right. Now, from my perspective, I was married for 13 years, so I understand the whole trust factor. For me, it was more along the lines of, and even now, people trust me to be who I am. They know I'm going to be Benji. So with all the extra stuff, forget it. So women already come to me expecting a nice ring, of this, of this, of this, of this, and that. So where I display my trust is, how can you handle things that I seemingly may get annoyed with? So if your homegirls or you have more say so in our function as a whole, then I ain't gonna trust none of that. Like, you can forget it. And from that part, I ain't putting no ring on your finger. Period. Like, it's just not gonna happen. But from that aspect, you get, where will I test you? Yes. And the way I test is, it's kind of simple. Is I just want to know, can you handle the business side of things? Because the ring and all of those things are kind of mandatory, so to speak. But the business side of it becomes even more concerning to me, because that's how I thrive solo. So if you can't assist and help in that area, then we have a bigger issue, and I can't flow in that environment. So
you muted.
you muted.
Okay, that makes perfect sense what both of you all are saying, because my husband, when we were dating, he owns his own construction and concrete company.
Right.
And so he works, extremely long hours. He people want the lifestyle of like a person that makes six figures, or that makes, but then they don't understand the work that goes into it, right? They don't understand. Right. You might have some nights alone. You might have some evenings alone. He might have to work weekends. And so I believe that that's how he tested me. And then he would also take me on bids and stuff and see how I interacted with customers. Right. Was I acting arrogant or loud, or or was I able to conduct myself as a businesswoman? Was right. I able to handle finances? I remember one time he left like $1,000 at my house. And I know he was like testing me to see if I was going to be like, girl, let's go to the store. Let's get this right. bag, right? Or, right. And I just hit him up like, babe, you left, a stack. Like you left some money at the house. And he was like, oh, okay, my bad. Put it up for me. Right. Those are things that a unhealed woman doesn't know how to handle those tests. But a right. woman that's walking in her purpose, and she's healed and she's elevated in her mindset, because I wasn't looking for anybody to invite me to the table. I had my own, but right. I was willing to set the plates and do all that stuff, for him, so that we can have a table together.
Now that makes sense because it just being from an honest standpoint, and I think most sisters understand this totally. In this life, a lot of men don't have, black men don't have a lot of people to lean on for trust, for accountability, all of those types of things. So the thing that we tend to value more than anything is what we accumulate, what we get, or what we're able to gather, because we know through our hard work, and it, grinding, is the thing, and to make it happen. So those things become our treasure, like a nice home. What was the song by Stevie Wonder say? Over time, I've been building my castle of joy just for two, in that song. And so that becomes us. So yeah, our money becomes very important to us. So how you handle it means a lot to us. How you take care of this, how you have all of those things become very significant for us, because in all honesty, most of us, we don't have family to lean on. We don't have, a lot of things, so we gravitate to that. And so when you bring someone into your world, you want them to at least kind of understand what it took for you to get to this point. And if they can understand that, I mean, it's almost like a match made in heaven.
Well, the money is what we're judged by too, sadly.
Oh, of course.
You know what I'm saying? As a man, if you don't have an outward showing of the things that you've accumulated, a lot of times people don't think highly of you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I mean, out in society, it's okay if you pull up in a car that's gas efficient, but really that ain't nobody looking at that. They looking at what kind of car is that. So instead of you get something that's gas efficient, you want to get something that's flash efficient. You know what I'm saying? That gives them that, oh man, I see you, boy. Especially every black man, we look for that moment. Oh, I see you, boy. Like nobody telling
you live for those moments, and
nobody
you mentioned earlier
something gas efficient. You know what I'm saying?
That's and this would be a whole nother podcast
real quick.
Listen, right? This would be a whole nother podcast, so I don't want to go there too deeply, but that is post-traumatic slave syndrome, right? Because we never had anything, now we see our value in what we can show people. And so this is generational, like, trauma. This is really which is what I walk women through in my coaching programs, and what I walk them through, because there is it's trapped in our DNA of those things, and even those mindsets. So a woman, not a lot of women won't even, like you said, they won't mess with no man driving a Prius. They have these ideas. Listen, I want my husband to buy me a Prius. I had a rental Prius the other day, and I was like, this thing is all right, because these California gas prices. I was like, this is all right. He was like, babe, we ain't getting no Prius. And I'm like, man, this is all right. But it's a mindset thing, because I understand that my value is far beyond, and his value is far beyond what we can, tangibly see. But that really does take like some shifts in your mindset.
I would agree. Because of that aspect, Ken talked about the part where we want that. I see you, boy. But in all honesty, we want that. But you would also want that with the lady that you're talking about, setting this life up with. Not for everyone else to agree, but it's like a settling thing within your own heart. Would you agree that in this whole crazy journey of building yourself, listening to life coaches, doing all of these different things, that there was this settling feeling when you finally met the person you feel like, what, I can really see myself marrying this person?
Oh my gosh. There were so many mixed emotions, so initially it was surreal, and I think when you are used to chaos and when you are used to trash, you often go back to trash. So initially I felt like, I don't know about this. Like, what's up his sleeve? Like, why? What's his agenda? And then once he was truly, Maya Angelou says, when people show you who they are, believe him. And so when he constantly showed me that this is him, like, he didn't have no arterial motive, there was no agenda, it was so settling to meet somebody, one, that matched like my energy, that matched who I was as a woman, that really truly like loved God legit, and that was willing to wait for me, because I had made a vow to myself and a vow to God, because before my husband, I'm gonna keep it real. I had a whole lot of sex looking for a little bit of love. And I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to my value to be found in that. So I made a commitment to myself. I wasn't giving it away anymore. Now, I don't know what people feel about the 90-day rules and all this stuff. I just knew for me,
What it
I
took for
wanted
you.
a man that, could see my outer beauty, could see my body, could see all those things, but still valued what I had going on in the inside. So it was like literally refreshing. Like that wine you sipping on, Benji, it was refreshing.
Listen here. You know we keep the best stuff around here. We're working with the mini bottles today, and but yes, always the One Hope wine is always refreshing. Y'all know that. Come on, link is in the bio. Thank you, Tamika, for that.
Listen, you see, I'm a businesswoman. I know how to throw it back to you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
We can just pause one morning for this small commercial break.
This paid advertisement is brought to you by.
There you go.
All right. I got a question for you, and we like to ask our guests this, with us just, kind of transitioning out of the pandemic per se. You know what I'm saying? For what you do in your life and the way things are going for you, like how did the pandemic affect you and what kind of adjustments did you have to make?
Honestly, and really, like, my condolences to anyone that lost people in the pandemic or that had hardships, but it was the best thing for my business ever. Because what happened in the pandemic is people really had to get still and they had to get with themselves. And there was this moment. I remember early in 2020, 2020, before, Kobe, before like all the things started to pop off that made 2020 the epic year that it was. I remember sitting still and God telling me isolation brings elevation. Did not understand what it was meant, did not understand anything. And we were isolated, right? For 18 months, for, just with ourselves. And so with that, women began to really realize that they needed to be healed. They needed to be elevated. They needed to be restored. So I started getting clients after clients after clients to where I had to start growing my business and getting virtual assistants and getting people to really help me with the everyday, practices of the business, because I feel like it was the best, one of the best things for our country as a whole. It was hard. It was devastating. There was a lot of things that happened, but for individually, those people that took advantage of the stillness and those people that took advantage of, I got to do better. They're in such a greater place
A
than they
better
were
place, right?
prior to 2020.
Sound like David in the back tending the sheep.
Listen.
Isolation brings elevation. I mean, I personally believe that no matter where you are in life, if you believe that you are appointed, it doesn't matter where you are, because you believe either you're going to come out of it or while you're in it, you're going to thrive. So I personally believe that, and that's always been my mentality as I've kind of gotten older. No matter what circumstance I find myself in, if this isn't the appointed place for me, I'm going to either make it out of it better or I'm going to thrive in that. And I've always taken that. David knew he was the appointed. He knew it. So he had no problem tending the sheep in the back. He always knew he had this moxie about him, even though he was short. He always knew what his mission was. And me and Ken, we laugh at this because he like 6'5" and I'm 5'9", so you know what I'm saying. We always throw the short jokes back and forth at each other. You know what I'm saying? So, but I personally believe that. And listening to you from earlier is that you said you always consciously within your mind said, "There's better for me." So when you believe it, you walk in it. So yeah, let me go hire a life coach. Let me listen to a mentor. And if you are anywhere in that space where you believe in all thy ways acknowledge him, I personally believe he'll tell you who to go to and who to go away from.
Yeah.
And that matters a lot to me.
Yeah, you absolutely. There's not much I can add to that, but really the foundation of everything, bringing it back serious. Listen, I'm giving y'all all of me right now. The
Right.
foundation is God, and when I got still, and when I continue to get still, because with elevation, there's moments where you start to, I don't believe in cutting people off. I truly believe in growing, and people will fall off.
Right.
There are certain people in your life for seasons and reasons, but as you elevate, you have to again go and be quiet and then ask God, now what? Right? When we look at, the story of Joseph, from pit to palace to, all those different things, he had to be quiet. He really had to surrender himself. And so that is a daily practice. There are some things
Right.
that I do daily, that so I can hear God, so I could be the best wife that I could be. One thing I did not share is, together, me and my husband have 8 children, all of which, except for the two oldest one, live under our roof. So we
Right.
have 6 kids living with us full time, all the time. So I became, just add water, I became like an instant mother to 5 extra children. And it's been ups and downs and challenges. So I am constantly having to pull away and having to go back into that isolation and saying, okay, how do I become a better
Right.
mother? How do I
Right.
become a better wife? How do I become a better strategist for the women that I am blessed to serve? And I think one of the things, again, that the pandemic did is it allowed us that time to, slow down. But now that we're getting back to quote unquote regular life, we still need to take those moments of hiatus and those moments of sabbaticals within ourselves, so that we can continue to be the best version of ourselves.
Yeah. I kind of veering a little bit, because I think with what you do, it's got to be difficult when you're dealing with certain clients. So I guess my question was, what's the most difficult thing you had to deal with, like working in your field? Like, what are some of the common difficulties that you have, that you might say is your most challenging moments?
Because of my story, and because of really just the story, a lot of women that don't have the funds to pay me, or don't, they're not ready to invest, they want things for free. And I have to, turn people away and tell them, like, this is my business, this is my practice, this is what I've spent 15 years building, so I can't. I do have some very, very low ticket things. I am constantly live on Facebook and Instagram, so I'm coaching and I'm giving away. I have my own podcast that I'm like,
Right.
giving, but I can't give it all away, because I can't be the light if I can't keep my lights on. Okay.
Right. Facts, facts, facts. And setting that bar, you have to set that bar. You have to put it there. But uh, we had one of our closest friends, Purvis Taylor, on and earlier during the pandemic, and he said the same thing. Some people don't want to pay you. They know you, and they don't want to necessarily pay you, especially when they hear your price, because they're thinking, oh, I know Tamika, I know so and so, so maybe they'll give me a little extra kickback. You know what I mean? But hey, personally, when you're investing in our people, I think we should celebrate our people and give them what we believe that they are worth, for sure.
Absolutely. Give me my coin, because I'm going to give you, you're going to. So it took me a long time to really be able to articulate the return on the investment, right? So when you partner with me, because there's a lot of business coaches and there's these type of people, but when you partner with me, literally, I have some success stories that will blow your mind. So the return on the investment, I had one lady that invested in my 6-week program. And at the end of the 6 week, she was dating this guy, I want to say for 7 years. And she kept talking about she wants a better job. She wants, and I had to just get real with her. Like, sis, what do you really want? You want to be married. You want these things. And so we set up a plan. We didn't set bro up, but I was like, this is, position yourself. Listen, Ruth positioned herself. She positioned
Right.
herself, and she prepared to be Boaz's wife. I posted something about a couple of weeks ago, and Benji was like, "Oh, they about to get mad at you, right?" Because so many people.
you know, I'm gonna jump on in with the cold hard facts. Oh Lord, here come these women talking about their roots. Lord have mercy.
They want to be, everybody looking for a Boaz, but are you really ready to be Ruth? Because if you really read that story, first of all, it's really nothing about relationship. People miss it all the way. It's about integrity, it's about hard work. There's so many other nuggets in it, but people
Right.
just see, oh, she married Boaz and he was like a low-key king. But if you really study and know that scripture, and I took like 3 years reading it over and over and digesting it and getting pieces out of it. But one of my clients, after partnering with me for 6 weeks, she was married at the end of us like working together. Like,
Right.
I have women that start their own boutiques, that start write books, that go on to successfully create their own businesses, that get in relationships that they desire and that they dream. So the return on the investment is you can continue to live the life that you want, and how is that working for you, right? And then you'll have your kids that have the same generational traumas as you, or you can invest in somebody and you could be the curse breaker in your family. So your kids, I tell, one of my sayings is my ceiling will be my children's floor. I'm giving my kids something to stand on.
Right.
A lot of people don't have that ability because they're not willing to invest on themselves. So the return, when I walk people through my free clarity sessions, I ask them, what would you put a price on this? And they're like, this is priceless. For me to live the life that I want to live in 12 months, it's priceless. So
I
go
would
on and
agree.
invest that change. Go on and.
You mentioned that story, and so a lot of people skip over the work of what it takes to get the job done, but that makes your story even more appealing because you were willing to put in the work. I've known you for years, and I've seen you progress. You're not the same person you was in 2012, 2011 when we were at the conference. So it's like this whole dynamic, and you see this progression. But ultimately, all of that, it took work. It took you to challenge yourself. It took others challenging you. It took this whole long drawn out process. And we all know this ain't the end yet. We still got more to do. Still got more to accomplish.
Yes, one of my favorite parts about the story of Ruth is she would, as she was in the field working, one of the things that she did is she gleaned from others.
Right.
She took what other people already kind of did. Many people don't want to do that. Everybody thinks that they know it all. They think that
Right.
they got all the answers. And if you are willing still to this day, like I am so willing to glean, like I'm learning from you guys. I am learning, how to do things from my kids. I'm constantly a student of life. So I know that this is just like the TikTok say, I'm just getting started.
Just I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest points again is the work that you put in. And what I get from this also is you were able to have a lot of self-actualization moments where you had to look at yourself, you know what I'm saying, and say, you know what, I'm not good at this. I need to improve. This is how I can do it. Or you had people that you could go to and say, okay, can you help me? Because people don't value things like counseling and life
Right.
strategy help, and because of the simple fact of they feel like they can go to their homegirl or homeboy down the street and get advice that's going to help them as well, but they don't understand that your homegirl or homeboy has some of the same or the exact same life experiences you have. They can't teach you anything because y'all on the same level. You need
Right.
somebody who has some expertise in these areas and who knows a lot more than you. Just like they always say, if you in a room and you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You need
Yeah.
to
Right.
find another room with people who are above you, people who are smarter than you, people who know more than you, so you can continually, learn. And you can't learn from people that are on the same level. You gotta elevate. And in order for you to elevate, sometimes you gotta go do some things that you haven't done before, which is, what I'm saying, see a life strategist.
Yeah, absolutely. And even just to add to that a little bit, a lot of times we think we can just pray things away or fast things away, go to pastor and them, right? And I think that that's one of the dysfunctions of the church is that we don't promote mental health. We don't promote like elevation in your lifestyle. And I do feel a shift. There is the shift coming and happening, but Pastor Nim can't give you everything that you need. That's why God, like literally, God created me for this. Like this is my life's
Right.
calling. This is my life's purpose. So if you gonna go, you're not gonna go to pastor if you need heart surgery. You're not gonna go to pastor if you got diabetes. So why
Right.
would you go to pastor that may not be able to help you with like the moving forward in your life. That may not be able, there, and all due respect to the bishops and the pastors out there, that is a tall order that I would not want. However, the right pastor or bishop is going to direct you to somebody that can really help you, and it's going to cost you. It's anything that you do in life. I heard you guys talking about basketball, and what y'all don't know is I'm a huge football fan out here.
Yeah, because you out in LA. I'm gonna ask you in just a little bit about it when
yes.
you even though I already know. But I mean, we ain't done. We're gonna get into that. I got you.
But anybody that's willing to
tell us who you're rolling with.
Okay, so for basketball, what's interesting? I really like Paul Pierce. Like even though he's not an athlete anymore. So he's like Boston. He's from LA, he's from Inglewood. So I really enjoy like that style of basketball. This new kind of basketball is hard for me to really swallow. They starting to get, better. I love LeBron. I love, I love Kobe, of course, RIP. I am a Lakers fan by default, but I grew up, this is going to blow your mind. I grew up being a Knicks fan. I'm a diehard Knicks fan, and I'm a diehard Giants fan. New York Giants for football.
Okay, all right. Mm-hmm. See, look at this. We got Giants, we got Dallas, we got Cali, we got Boston Celtic fans. We got just this whole melting pot of this whole thing. I was going to shift in a moment and say, because you are married, your husband may love sports, you got kids, all of those type of things. We were going to shift into that and be like, do you watch sports a lot? Do you use some of those strategies in your coaching strategies, or where does sports play a part in any of this? Of course, you're a Knicks fan, so I mean,
right.
The God,
you know what? God. I believe we get some of the greatest. I get some of my greatest analogies from sports. I really do, because there is so many great life lessons when you watch a good game, right? And especially when the underdog wins. One of my I did this fire speech on the Super Bowl 3 years ago, where boy like intercepted it in the end zone, and then I think it was like seconds left to the game, and I believe it was the Patriots, which Tom Brady, whatever.
Patriots
we ain't gonna
Seattle,
go there.
Yeah.
Patriots in Seattle. We ain't gonna go there, whatever.
Yeah, because that's a whole other story.
They'll be on here for 2 hours. Listen,
but that's another story.
Right? But I use I remember delivering a speech, and I was talking about how you never give up, and sometimes because we still I don't remember that kid's name, but we didn't know his name when he caught the ball. We didn't, and sometimes people don't know your name, but if you in the game, you better show up and play. You better show up and play, right? So this is the life lessons that I teach my kids. All my kids are athletes. I was an athlete. My husband, unfortunately, is a Dallas Cowboy fan. So you know how that.
Hold on. You're going to start something right here, because we got a Cowboy fan on set.
Hey.
And I come from Dallas, so
ain't gonna start nothing. She said her husband's a Cowboys fan. Y'all said the man is amazing, so that is.
The correlation. Cowboys amazing, he amazing. So it gotta be dope, right?
Right. So on Sundays, but it's funny because we wrote our own vows. And I remember telling him one of the bars that I put in my vows, I said, Paul, you're like Sunday Night Football, where the Giants and the Cowboys are going head up, because that in our household, that's like one of the most exciting games, right? Because we get to be we get to rival and we get to do all those things. But at the end of the day, we taking it to the bedroom, right? We going back to the, but just amazing sports, amazing. There's so many great analogies. There's so many great concepts that can come from sports. So I definitely am a sports fan. I don't watch TV. All I watch is sports when it's on, so my husband's always like, did you hear this? And I'm like, yeah, in the morning he watching or listening to Shannon Sharp. And so I'm there, with them. And it's definitely a part of our our lifestyle as a married couple.
Okay, hold on. I got to put up these couple comments before we move on from the sports. This is cracking me up. Okay, so Chavez,
Bro,
my boy Chavez. What's going on, Chavez? That's my
Giants
boy.
suck. And we have another comment from YouTube, Cortez McLaughlin.
Oh
Said,
Lord,
what
come on,
about
D.
the Raiders?
D.
listen, you
now.
gotta be a real life
Hey,
gangster.
I will be down there in Vegas though, watching some Raiders games this year. Though that stadium is fire.
I don't know if it's better than the Ram Stadium. Sci-fi.
No, it's they're neck and neck. Of course, Jerry Jones had a hand in putting it all together. So I don't even want to talk about Jerry Jones. But SoFi is, man, that spot, man, that is legit. But hey, we talking about
so
football.
wait, let me hold on. We're not gonna slide past them comments like that. So for my boy that's at the Giants suck, I'm not gonna hold you. We ain't had a good couple of years. We have not had a good couple of years. We looking all right. We got some. I think I'm not sure if we got our coach yet. We definitely needed a new coach. We got a couple of good running backs, but that lets you know that I'm loyal. If I've been rocking with the Giants since the 80s, since like big man football, since G-men, then that lets you know what type of woman I am. Raiders, I don't think you could be a Raider fan unless you still gangbang. Like I think that's
Hey, the brother that commented on there, he's an older gentleman. He's a deacon of the church. I don't know, but he walked like he an old mafia dude. I don't know, Deke. You might still be in the mafia. I don't know. I mean, growing up in that, you have a husband. I'm sure there's things where you have to balance yourself off, right? You know, he may love sports. I'm sure it's a blessing to find out that you love sports as well. How much would you say that balance is key in making that whole thing work?
Ooh, you got into something heavy. So I honestly believe that balance is a myth. I believe that there's harmony in relationships. If you try to balance things and if you try to, then something's gonna fall, right? When we think of balancing, we think of like, at least I do. I think of like juggling, right? So I believe more so in harmony. When you think about harmony, me and my husband love to go to live concerts, jazz, and different things like that, orchestras. So when you think of harmony, there's always something that may be a little bit louder as far as the instruments than the other ones, but they all in harmony. So with our life, there are times where being in harmony, the kids may be a little bit louder right now, right? So we need to kind of put our traveling and the things that we do on the back burner so we could tend to the kids. There may be times where he needs extra support in his business. So I got to put my stuff to the side, but we still in harmony. Everything is still flowing. Everything is still rocking together. So I think when we think of that, when we think of life being in harmony, I think of like the beach. Like to me, the beach is like so in harmony. The waves know what they're doing. They know when sometimes the tide is high, sometimes it's a lower tide, but it's always flowing. Things are always flowing. So with us, there are certain things my husband is not. Recently, he's gotten big on like personal development and like all this mind stuff, but he'd be like, girl, please. Like, he ain't with all of that initially. So I had to just be in harmony. I'm still going with the flow, but I didn't do like what a lot of women do and try to stuff it down his throat and make him like balance it and make him feel like he had to do this or he had to do, certain things. I'm like, nah, I'm going to do it because it's appeasing to me. So there's times where he maybe just want to binge something on my husband still watches TV. I don't. But we in harmony, right? Okay, you don't want to, I'm going to the room and I'm going to read a book, or I'm going to go put on an audio book, and it still works for us. So I think if we think of things as harmony instead of balance.
I like that.
I like that concept.
That harmony.
I like that concept. I mean, you have offered up a different view for what people have considered a traditional thought process of balance. You know what I'm saying? And you hear that a lot. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, again, I'm one of those people who like to use those analogies as well and visual representations of, balance. If you think about balance, what do you think? Somebody usually standing on one foot, somebody trying to, and eventually with balance, you're going to fall. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? I like that concept. I had one other question that I wanted to ask you too, dealing with your clients is, how do you unpack from what you hear from your clients? Because I know when you talk to people, a lot of times they have some heavy stuff that they come to you with, and then you hear that, and you innately take some of that on. So how do you unpack that?
Oh, that's a really good question. So I believe a lot of people try to be containers for people, right? And so when we think of a container is usually like a self-contained vessel with a lid or something on the top of it. What I started doing is I started to see myself as a conduit. So because I'm a conduit, I take all the information, I let it cipher through me, but then, and I'm like a T conduit, right? So the T conduit is the information comes through me, but then I shoot it right back up to God. I can't hold all of that. Like I can't be responsible for it. 2021, God told me I'm stop trying to play God to people. So I literally, and previous to that, I kind of sped by it, but I had a major stroke because I was so stressed out and I felt like I had to be all things to all people. So now I consider myself like legit a conduit. So it helps me to, when I close this computer, when I say, because I do all of my sessions virtually, when I'm done with that Zoom meeting, after I hit end recording, I'm done. I'm back to mama. Listen, my kids is right now waiting for dinner. Right? They don't care about none of this stuff that I do. They don't care about any of this. They like, so what's the eats looking like? Right? My husband is like,
what the vittles at? What the vittles? Mom, what the vittles? This is funny. This is funny. I was watching a halftime show or a post-game show with Jason Tatum, and his son Deuce was up there with him. And the crowd is just asking him all these questions. And Deuce is sitting there still trying to get his dad's attention. And he's like, Dad. And he's asking him, trying to get his attention. And I was like, you know what? That kid doesn't care that this is what daddy does. He's oblivious to a degree as a kid to what's going on with dad right now. He doesn't understand it. So it means him no never mind to a degree. So Tatum is literally sitting there trying to get him to, calm down, let him. And I thought about that. But if you don't take that off at the moment, you'll literally get offended at the kid who doesn't understand what you are doing at all. So the fact that you're capable of being reasonable is really dope and really legit.
There's a like a whole series of YouTube videos where celebrity kids like being with, and most of them are athletes. And so, Stephen Curry, he usually has his kids after he's doing like an interview, he'll have his kids sitting on the lap and they'll be like tapping him and he'll, finally say what? And they're like, I gotta poop or something like that, like they don't care, like these kids. So it is hilarious. I love watching those because it makes us human. I think so often, here goes another bar. I really hope there's a lot of women watching that or, they're going to listen to the replay. I mean, this is good for the men as well. But so often we live in a perpetual state of depression or anxiety because of two reasons. One, depression because we always are in our past, and anxiety because we're so in our future. Kids cause you to be present. They want you to be here. And that's what I love about my kids because they don't care about me being an author. I'll be like, oh, I just made this new book or I just had this many sales. And they like, okay, cool. Like we still going to Magic Mountain, like that's all they really care about. So it causes me to really stay present, to be grounded and to really appreciate because I'm doing it all for them. They ask you, what is your big why? My big why is so they'll never have to deal with the things that I had to deal with.
Right. Man, that's legit. I love that.
Yeah,
kids make you present, and I would agree. My son had me watching Sonic 2 and the new Doctor Strange movie, and he's talking to me the whole time. Dad, this, and I'm sitting there like, man, I don't have understanding of what you're talking about. So it made me take off being stubborn, Benji, and listen to my baby boy. Okay, so now we in here literally having this conversation about Doctor Strange and the evil witch and Wanda and all this. And I literally posted one of the questions because my son is literally having me in this moment. So I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
Kids will pull you back into some things because like when my kids, I have 21, 18, and 10. So,
Mm.
we
It's the 10-year-old, huh? The 10-year-old is the one.
well, my 10-year-old is the talker. She's my only girl, and she's super talkative. She always has these thoughts, these ideas that she wants me to hear, and it's like, Dad, I'm pouring into you, so give me your attention. So when she comes into the room, or she comes into my office or my studio, I have to make sure whatever I'm doing, I stop and focus in on her,
Yeah.
because she can tell when you're not focused.
Right.
And what you don't want to do is have your child come to you and feel like they're not being heard.
Right.
Oh.
And that's a big thing for me, and learning from my 21-year-old to the 10-year-old is to make sure that my children are heard. And one thing I can tell people from having my 21-year-old and being able to sit down and talk to him, quote unquote, man to man now, is him telling me, the things that he felt like he missed. What I'm saying? We can
Yeah.
have that conversation. And I think as a parent, again, being able to come to somebody like you as a life strategist helps you, kind of navigate and have those conversations with somebody else outside. Because when your child comes to you and tells you, hey, Dad, I don't think you did so great right here, I think you could have done better. It's hard for
It's
anybody
hard.
to tell you you didn't do something so well, but you need that in order to grow. And my oldest son has the mindset of, you know what? I want you to be a better dad, because I know you were so young when I came into this world. I want you to be a better dad for my sister and for my brother. So
Mm.
I'm going to have this conversation with you and be open and honest. And I really appreciate him for that. And that was huge for me to be able to have those conversations with him, because it's helped me become a better man and a better dad.
And
Yeah.
his kids are basically already taller than me, so I mean, you can't help but sit there. If I'm in that conversation, I'm sitting there like, for real, man, like really.
That's hilarious. I love that you shared that, because I turn off the life coaching, I turn off the speaker and all of that stuff when I'm with my kids, but a lot of times it bleeds into it, right? Because it's just who I am innately. And so one of the things that we have is like family meetings, and about every 6 months I do check-ins with my kids, because I am constantly taking inventory of me. And my oldest is 23. And man, they'll check you real quick, and so my kids will sometimes tell me things like, you did this or you did this. And to all the parents out there, we're not always going to get it all right. It's difficult. This is all the things that I've done in my life. The hardest thing is being a parent. It is tough. Like it is. And especially in this day and age, you competing against social media, you competing with so much stuff. So it is definitely difficult, but I've learned to give myself the same grace that I need my kids to give me, right? So I know I made mistakes. I know they're gonna come to me sometimes with, Mom, you didn't do right in this area. And then I always tell them, like my son, as he's 23, he's the oldest. I say, I've never had a 23-year-old, so I'm gonna make a mistake, and I do better as they go back, the younger kids. So now I have a little bit of data on how to be a better parent. But I don't know how it's going to be when you're 25. I don't know how it's going to be when you're 30. So I think that saves me in a lot of areas.
That's very true. I was listening to a quote that I kind of think about a lot often when I'm dealing with my babies. Is one of the things that we failed to realize, even with our parents, is that they were growing too. As
Yeah.
we were growing and learning, they were doing the same, especially for some of us who had parents who were, in their 20s and their early 30s or whatever. They were growing as well. And we didn't have that insight, or we didn't know that. We just knew them as mom and dad and expected this, this high standard, so to speak, from them. And we didn't know. We were literally watching our parents grow as we were growing as well. So I think if we apply that concept into everything and kind of teach our kids that, I think they'll understand more, because our kids are very, very, very intelligent
Oh,
nowadays, man.
yeah.
They'll talk about more stuff than we probably ever would have discussed back in our time compared to now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that we created this, because we grew up in the generation where, because I said so, like that was the only answer we got
Yeah.
when we asked questions, because
Yeah.
I said so. And so
Yeah.
we created this space Well, I know at least in my home where my kids can ask questions and I'll give them an honest answer. Like we have sometimes when my dad is over, he like, these kids talk crazy to you. And I'm like, no, they talk. Like I've
Right.
allowed them to talk and ask questions and because they go, all they got to do is do this and Google gonna tell them. So do I want Google to tell them? Do I
Or
want
do
they
you want
little,
mom and dad to tell
you
them?
know, do I
Right.
want TikTok to tell them or do I want to tell them the real? So I think we've
I
created that
totally
atmosphere.
agree. Totally agree.
Mhm.
And
Different age, but man, I tell you, we got some good people out here handling their business. So I dig it. We got two of them on this set right here. We got Ken and we got Tamika. You know what I'm
and I,
saying? So
I
we
think what's dope,
strapped.
I think what's dope too is I have a conversation with my oldest two, my boys, and I tell them, you know, you're at the point now where you can get to know Ken and not
Mm.
dad. It's a difference. You know what I'm saying? I had a life before you, and I have a life now as an adult that you might not be privy to all the information. So now, as you are, you know what I'm saying, 18 and 21, I can talk to you on a different level, and
Right.
you can get to know me as a man, you know what I'm saying, versus just daddy, because I didn't know my dad, you know, as you know, as Big Ken, the real Big Ken, until I was probably 26, 27 years old. And by that,
Mm.
I had been a dad already 7 years and I had two boys already. You know what I'm saying? But it helped me understand more and more about him, about how to be a dad, the things that maybe he didn't provide for me because he didn't know and he brought up in a different time under different circumstances. So, you know, and for me to have again have those conversations with my boys now means a lot because, you know, hopefully I can look back as a granddad and say, you know what, my boys are being excellent fathers, excellent husbands, and excellent men in this society because, you know what I'm saying, I broke generational curses, you know what I'm saying, for them, and they can continue to break them, you know, as time goes on. So that's big as well for us to be able to have those conversations with our kids.
That's
I
dope.
love that. You know, I have a group chat with my older set of kids and then the younger set, and then we have like a family group chat. And when Kendrick Lamar just dropped his album on what was it last Friday, and my
Right.
kids know like I'm a big K Dot fan. I love
Right.
Kendrick, and so my older kids, I was able to be, you know, our group chat is lit. You know, we were up in there talking because I could talk to them. They're getting to know me like Tamika, you know, not as their mom. And when they
Right.
have, you know, conversations about women, I'll tell them like, bro, that's a red flag. And I talk to them just like this, like, bro, that's a red flag. Like she got daddy issues. You ain't out here trying to be nobody daddy and you know, different things like that. So I'm able to really give them sound advice, not and they don't hear it from like, oh, that's just my mom hating. They realize like, oh no, this is like from a woman's point of view, from a woman's perspective. And a lot of times I'll tell them like, do you want mom or do you want Tamika? You know, Tamika's a little bit raw, so you want
Right. Right. Hey, sometimes you gotta. Hey, I personally believe Ken mentioned this. Sometimes we have to show our kids that. My son, I remember having this conversation with him one day, and I was like, and we did a show on this, but my son didn't know where I came from,
Mm.
right? So he was like, son, you gotta understand. He was calling me old, you know, dad, you're old. I'm like, I'm 42, you know, whatever. And it was like, son, shoot, this is a blessing because we did where I come from, we didn't know if we was gonna make it to 21. And
Yeah.
his mouth dropped, and he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, you know what? This is crazy. I haven't even really talked to my baby boy about where I actually came from
Yeah.
because his grandpa is super old. Super old. I just put it out there, gonna put the man age out there. But I was like, son, you gotta understand where your grandpa came from. It was probably worse for him than it was for me.
Hmm.
So for him to be at this age, I'm sure walking around with a cane, whatever, 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 it doesn't matter. The fact that he came from out of all of that and made it to this point to where he can sit in his own house, in his own yard, and not have to worry about certain things is a joy to him. And the same for me, not having to look over your shoulder, but being able to say, look, man, I came out of that culture and look, this is how it was. But
Yeah.
this is what we don't want it to be going forward. So I want to spit this to you and say, look, don't watch out for this. Watch out for that. Well, dad, how do you know? Son, I grew up in that environment.
Hmm.
I know what it's like. I know where it's going to lead to. I know what the women are like in this space, in this phase. at 13 when you got your fly kicks on and you got your nice watch on and all that. You're gonna be a target. They go, and you know what I'm saying? You know, they go, you gotta be prepared for this.
Yeah. Funny story. I know we're probably getting ready to kind of wrap up, but my second oldest son, my Moses, he's like an amazing, like his story alone is just he's an amazing kid. But I remember because they only knew like mom, me, and I had been on this personal development journey, this positive lifestyle journey, since I had them. They kind of catapulted that journey for me. But I remember he was in middle school and I got a call from one of his teachers. And the teacher said, ma'am, Moses is such a good kid. But he's in class and he's 21 now. He probably gonna hate that I'm telling this story. But it's like, he was in class and I don't really know the context, but all I know is I heard Moses say blood or crip. And I was like,
Oh
oh,
boy.
word. Okay, bet. I was like, don't worry about anything. I will definitely take care of this. So I pick him up from school and he's like, hey, mom. And I'm like, what's up, cuz? And he like, where's my mom at? And I'm like, oh no, you said tripping? And he's like, I'm using all these terms, but he's like, what is she talking about? And so I was like, it's DP day, homie. And he was like, what are you talking about? So he's in the back. I'm like, nah, I'm not your mom no more. You want to be
Let's
a
talk about
gangbanger?
it. Right.
You want to be? And I like literally had to talk to him about the danger because I saw people killed. I lived in like the heart of that. My house, when that song first came out, I'm in love with the go-go. They was talking about the trap
Right,
music
right,
and all
right.
that stuff. I lived in the trap house. So I'm like, you so far removed from that because of the work that I've done. I'd be damned if you think you about to floss this stuff for play. Like we're not doing
Right,
that. We're not
right,
doing that, but because I neglected, again, so often we're running from our past. We're running
right.
from our past. So we live in depression. We live in, we're there. So my kids had no clue of that side of me. So I had to really make it plain to him. And he talks about this because I said the 10-year-old, because my 10-year-old the other day he was on the game and I'm sitting there listening. He like cussing and I'm like, oh, for real? This is what we oh, here we go again. And so my 21-year-old was like, Mom, you soft. You soft because when I was cussing, you like jam me up. Now you just took
Right.
the game away from him. And I'm like, listen, mom is old. My mom ain't trying to whoop nobody no more.
Like we get up out of that. Look, we don't. I want to be able to look at you now and give you the stare, and it be just like that, where you understand. Like, listen, boy, you know better than this. What's going on?
Yeah.
So as we get ready to wrap up, are there any other big projects or business ideas that you're trying to put out there, or that your business big project that you're working on that you can tell us about?
Yeah. So aside from the coaching and all of that great stuff, me and my husband are in the process of being multifamily homeowners. So we are looking to invest in apartment complex because we're really we are going to create generational wealth for our children. And then we're also getting in the Toro business. So we secured our first loan to buy our first couple of vehicles. So, we really are business owners out here. We really want to do well. And I want that for everybody. I truly believe that the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. And because I believe that there's plenty for all of us and for all of us to be able to do that. But before you can jump into owning apartment buildings and owning cars and doing all these amazing things, you got to do the inside work. So I would say the first stop is jump into one of my coaching programs. I have a very affordable monthly membership that if you really with it, you could jump into that today and get some like dimes. It's valued at thousands of dollars, but for a minimum price of $47 a month, you could literally jump into that and start there. And once you get in, usually when women start there, they're like, no, I need you as my one-to-one coach. So those are some of the things I'm doing.
Awesome.
Okay, that's dope. So is there any advice or any closing thoughts, like inspirational or motivational, that you would like to leave the audience with?
Yeah, I kind of said it in the beginning, but there's four corners that I have really built my business, my brand on. And the first one is to live a life to inspire and not impress. The second one is to lift as you climb. I believe that we are fooled to believe that it's lonely at the top. If we continue to bring people up with us, it's not lonely at the top. The third corner is to turn your trials into treasures. You ain't got to stay where you're at. Use all that stuff as motivation. And the fourth corner that, I'll be on working these corners is allow God to fully restore you, and you can have anything that your heart's desire.
All right.
Love
Dope.
it.
So let the people know how they can find you on social media and any other information you would like to leave them with.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's very simple. Tamika Thomas on all social media sites. If you go to my website, it's Tuesday with Tamika. And dope story about that. When I first started, I used to go to continuation school for mothers, for teen moms, and I was speaking to their life every Tuesday. And so they were like super hyped, like, it's Tuesday with Tamika. So I literally have built my company on something that used to be a pain point for me. So Tuesday with Tamika is my company. It's Tuesday. Listen, y'all rocking with Tamika on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So that's when you could find the podcast Tuesday Healing with Tamika everywhere on social media. If you Google Tuesday with Tamika, I'm gonna pop up.
Awesome.
And I also put your website link in the comments. So for everybody watching, whatever social media platform you're watching it on, that link should pop up. So you should be able to go to her website and peruse those services and hopefully sign up for something, because I know y'all all need help. We all need help.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody should sign up for something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But we appreciate Miss Tamika Thomas for joining us today. Miss Tamika, if we can have you just wait backstage for us as we close out the show. Don't leave us, because we like to chop it up just a little bit, you know what I'm saying, when we get off the air, just to make sure that everything went according to plan, and that we can maybe have her back one day on something more special, you know what I'm saying? Because we always try to think of creative ways to have our guests come back and contribute, you know what I'm saying, different things to the show, because we don't want y'all to just hear Benji and Ken all the time, you know what I'm saying? Right. Even we have some expertise, you know what I'm saying, some things.
I mean, we do our thing.
Not like Miss Thomas. So, you know what I'm saying, we like to bring the experts back, but we really appreciate her coming on today and giving us the jewels that she gave us, because listen, like she said throughout the show, I hope y'all were taking notes, because she gave y'all a lot to take note of.
It was a lot of lift your hands moments in this session today. That's for sure.
A lot of lift your hands moments. So, Miss Thomas, we appreciate you. If you could wait backstage for us while we close out. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Dope show. That was dope.
I mean, let's just say this. When Benji told me about Miss Thomas, he told me some great things, but her coming on the show exceeded all of that. Right. Exceeded all of that, for real. Like, she gave us a lot. And y'all, I'm telling you, if you missed it, go back and watch it.
Watch it on the YouTube, the replay. Go subscribe, comment, do all of that on there. We need you on there.
That's a fact. Now, my man Benji Banks, the man, the brand. Talk to the people before we get up out of here.
Man, listen, you know where you can find me. IG is right down on there. IGBRB4701. You'll be able to see all the amazing products. You know how it is. We got the wine. We got the stuff ready for y'all. Ladies, I know y'all like this pink bottle, so you need to go on and get that. Link is in the bio. But follow me on Facebook. We here, Benji Banks. You know what it is. I'm going to have something for you. I'm going to either have some game for you, or I'm going to sell you something. So that's what we're working on. That's what we're doing. But y'all go, make sure y'all go to YouTube and check the 5 Session Podcast out. We're trying to get these subscribers up, continuing to work on that. We appreciate those of you who have been jumping on it already, but keep those views coming. Keep those views and those subscribers coming. We got works and plans in the works. So.
Yes, sir. Well, y'all already know y'all can catch me at Big Ken's Comedy on IG, Big Ken's Comedy on Twitter, Big Ken's Comedy on Facebook. Y'all can catch the 5 Session Podcast on all social media platforms. Like Benji said, make sure y'all go to YouTube, click like and subscribe on that channel, because we're trying to build something special, man. We're trying to get better each and every week. We're trying to bring you dope guests, dope topics, you know what I'm saying, and just perfect our craft, because we know we're not perfect. but nobody starts with perfection. We all are works in progress. We're all
Yes.
getting better each and every day. Our main thing is just to bring you something of value. So each week we try to bring you something of value, and as always, we try to put the medicine in the candy, because we're gonna give you something to take with you, but we also want to give you something to laugh about and be entertained with. So we appreciate you all tuning in each and every week, each and every episode. Go check out the old episodes and get caught up. Tune in each week on Tuesday live. Jump in the comments, jump in the chat, and join the conversation, because we really appreciate it. So without that being said, peace out to y'all. Y'all already know it's the Fiyah Session Podcast. Peace.
Follow us on all social media platforms. Just search Fiyah Session Podcast.